Welcome to What Had Happened Was. I'm your host, Captain Daryl Lyons. I've been guiding for over 30 years, been in the outdoors for over 50, as you can tell from the whiskers. Got a little more than 50 years on me, but not many. But we're going to start this out. It's going to be a series that's got years and years of stories. Some are personal, some have happened on the boat, some have just been told to us through the years. But we're going to start with one when I was around 8 years old. Me and Dad was down at Chocolate Bayou. A lot of you know where that's at, down on the Texas coast. Some don't. It's down south of Houston, between Angleton and Freeport area, down right in that little hole right there. It's Chocolate Bayou runs into Chocolate Bay over to Galveston Bay. So that's where our adventure and our story times will start, and we'll go from there to all over the country, all over the place, and tell y'all some things. But this one is called "Don't Tell Your Mother." So we had left out one morning and headed out to go fishing, as we did on the weekends quite often. And we ended up taking the 16-foot flat bottom Washita with a 40 Mercury on it, which I still have the 40 horse Washita, both here at my house out in the backyard. Of course, neither one of them, the Mercury don't run anymore. We've sold parts off of it, but the old Washita still floats. Got a little dent in the front end from a story that we'll tell you later on about water skiing behind a flat bottom and hitting an oak tree, the only oak tree in a pasture along the edge of the bayou. So lots of things happened in that old boat. So that's one of the reasons we still have it. But this particular morning, it was a great Saturday morning. We'd headed down, got down to the boat ramp at 2004 and put in and headed out. Got to the little bait shop, picked our live bait up. You know, back then, if you either caught your bait or you just stopped at the little place, and shrimp wasn't that expensive back then. So we'd stop and bought a quarter, a pint of shrimp, whatever it might have been, and headed out. And we're headed out just like any other morning, and just like any other good saltwater fisherman, there's rules to these things. And so first thing that morning, you get past the bridge, or if you're going offshore, once you pass the jetty, but we weren't going that far, we are going in the bay. So go under the 2004 bridge, that puts you in open water. First thing you got to do is Dad opens the first cold beer of the morning. Now it's 6:30 in the morning. You got to have a cold beer to get started for saltwater fishing. So that's what we did. We headed out. We got down into a little place, and place is if you know that area, it's between New Bayou and the reef that's out at the mouth of it. And if you don't know where that's at, then you'll be able to find it. But it's really kind of irrelevant because the story is more based on what happened after we got anchored up and we got started off and caught a few fish and some small fish, a lot of hard hits, some small redfish. Like I said, we're using live bait, so we're trying to catch trout and redfish mainly. So that's what we were after. And he ended up hooking into one and broke it off. Now, whether he got hung up or what it was, who knows? I don't recall. But the next event that happened is what makes this story so great and why it's called Don't Tell Your Mom. So we get out there, he broke his line off, and we're fishing. For y'all that don't use live shrimp, you use these little small, little number 10 hooks. Sometimes you use a little bit bigger, but not often. A little treble hook, free line it out there. So he's got his line broke off, and not really a big deal. Didn't bother him a whole lot. So he's got his line. So he figures to go ahead and open him another cold beer while he's getting situated. And I'm still fishing and just kind of glance back and look at him a little bit, get his hook out of the tackle box, and here we go. And he reaches down, he has a sip of beer, and he gets his line out. And rod's laying across the boat, like you do. So you take his line, and he's looking at it, and eyesight's not that good. He was, getting to that age, right? So he takes his line and he puts it through that hook. There's your little hook hanging there. Now you can imagine we're out and the wind's blowing a little bit, and you make your twist on it, and you can see that this little hook's hard to handle. So he makes this twist on his line, and he's looking at it, and he's holding it up. Man, I've almost got it. I get it in there, and all right, so we got it. We got it now, right? We're through the loop. We're through the loop, but we can't pull it because now, well, we do this. We put it right here, and it gives it a good pull, a good snug, and all of a sudden, he is hooked. He has got this number 10 treble hook right there in the top of his lip, like that, all the way through. All the way through, just like that. So he's hooked. He has now become the catch. So a few choice words, well, a whole lot of cussing, and he realizes he is stuck, and the pole is still attached to it. So He reaches over, he cuts the line loose from the pole, and he's sitting there, and he gets you a little swig of beer off to the side and pours a little on it, because you know, if you've ever been hooked, how much that throbs and burns as it goes in there. So we're going through that, and I offered to help, and he told me, no choice, few more words. Just in other words, stay back, don't bother with me, let me be. So I'm watching and watching. About that time, the blood starts coming, and it's bleeding a little bit. And he has a few more choice words, and he wiggles at it a little bit, and he drinks a little beer, and he spits a little bit, and kind of because he can't do a whole lot with it now because it's stuck in his lip, and the other piece is hanging down here. Could catch his bottom lip if he ain't careful. So he gets around there and messes with it, messes around. Well, 3 beers in, he finally had enough, and the swelling's just steadily swelling up on him, and the blood's still coming down his chin, and he's not real happy. And the few fish that I had been catching, well, they were, needless to say, just thrown back in the water and didn't mess with. So he decides just going to snatch it out. So he grabs a hold of a pair of pliers, grabs it, snatches it out of his lip, and the blood starts to running. So he reaches down and he gets him another fresh beer out. Now he's 4 beers into this ordeal, pours the beer on his lip, takes him a good drink, swashes it around, spits it out, reaches into the bay, gets him some of that good salt water, puts that salt water on there, rinses that out, spits it out, finishes the beer, gets his rod picked up, looks at me, ties him another hook on there. He goes, "You don't say a damn thing to your mama about what happened." So I'm sworn to silence. I'm not going to say a word. We finished fishing today, catch our few fish that we caught. Things are good. His lips swole up pretty good, like somebody punched him in the mouth. We head on to the boat ramp, get loaded up, make the 30-minute drive back to the house. And back in the driveway, well, my job was to get the water hose and the ears that you'd put on there to flush it out. And of course, Mom comes outside, and the first thing I hear, "You ain't gonna believe what happened to me today." So much for don't tell your mother. No, let's tell her right straight off. So he told her what happened, and that is what had happened with us. Hope y'all enjoyed that. We've got a lot more of them to come, so stick around, tell your friends.